Hi guys, it's me and welcome to this very special video. So Tanya from Creative Tartanite Tribe, which is a Facebook group, asked me to host this month's creative challenge. Every month in that Facebook group they have challenges, and sometimes she invites artists to come up with challenges. So this month I came up with a challenge, and I will link her Facebook group below. It seems like a really great place to create, and with lots of interesting challenges and lots of ways for you to express your creativity, so make sure you check that out. Anyway, the prompt for this month is going to be heart. So you will see how I use that prompt in the page when we get started, which we'll do in a couple minutes. Also, I just want to tell you to make sure that you stay tuned till the end of the video, because there are freebies that are exclusive to the group, so you have to join the group to get one of them. And then there's another freebie too that is for everyone that watches this video that I think you'll be pretty excited about. So I can't wait to see what you come up with. Please, if you post it on Facebook or in the group, I will definitely check it out. Seeing all your artwork, but let's head to the table so I can show you what I came up with. Thanks.
Okay guys, so what we're going to do, our first step is that we are going to get out a piece of watercolor paper. You could also do this on a piece of canvas or even on a piece of cardboard. And we are going to write down 3 things that we're grateful for. So I'm going to actually use, maybe a black pen would be best. I was going to use my Woodies, but I think maybe I'll just use a ballpoint pen. And I just want you to write down 5 things that you're grateful for. This will be covered, so you don't have to worry. But during this time, it's important that we have some gratitude for the good things that we do have. Okay, so I'm going to think of 5 things that I am grateful for. I'm grateful that there's always hope. I'm grateful for good, kind, giving people. There's a lot of those people out there. I'm grateful for friends and family. I'm grateful for God. And one more. I'm grateful for chocolate. Which I've been eating too much of lately. But that's it. Okay, so now let's do our first step. So we're going to use our Deco Page matte glue, and we are going to cover up this background, but it's been infused with some very powerful things. You know, it's good to let your art have meaning, and it's always great to do that in these underlayers. You can kind of hide stuff. It's like a secret between you and the canvas that no one knows about. So we're just going to tear these down to size. I'm working with a bunch of vintage paper. So I have vintage ledger paper. I have graph paper. I just pulled a bunch of things from my stash that I think would work well. And I'm just going to tear them down and glue them onto this canvas. I really like torn edges, but you could cut if you wanted also. And I just want to create a really interesting visual background. Okay? And don't be afraid to make your collage go in a different way. That's totally fine too. And I'm sticking with neutrals here. You could use something else if you wanted to. You could use scrap paper. Just make sure that the colors are cohesive. So make sure that they kind of go together. That's the important part. Okay, so I'm just getting a rough feel of what I like. It will probably change because I won't remember, first of all, and because I create very intuitively, so I think it's important to let that be a part of your process also. So we have some text, a dictionary page, some more, so we'll put that there. Some here. And I think this is a little bit too yellow, so I'm not going to use that. I do have some of this kind of paper that I like. And I look for these kind of papers at thrift stores. You could find them at yard sales. Just all over the place. You'd be surprised where you could find beautiful papers. This is tissue paper, but it has kind of that washed out vintage look. So I like to use that. And this is leisure paper. It has a lot of blue, so I might not use that. The green doesn't bother me so much. This is from the receipt, so I'll use some of that. Maybe. We'll see. Okay. So I think I have enough things cut out that I can be a little bit more intuitive and kind of see where I want things to go. One thing that I want to grab is I'm going to grab some of this textured wallpaper. Because it's really nice to add some texture. So we're going to add a little bit of that. And I think that's good to start out with. Okay, and we'll see if we need to add more stuff. Okay, so let's grab our glue. And I'm going to get a brush for applying my glue. So I'll use this guy here. Okay. And we're just going to start covering up our substrate. Okay. So for this medium, you're going to put medium on the bottom. Like that. And then you're going to put your paper on top of that. And then you're going to seal it. Kind of like meat in a sandwich, right? That it's surrounded by bread. That's what I kind of like to think about. Okay, let's add another piece. Again, we're going to apply. Some people even will put glue on the back of their paper. I don't mind wrinkles. I really love the texture. When things are not perfectly down, if you want, you can just make sure everything's pressed to the surface. But like I said, I don't mind wrinkles. I think that it adds interest and visual texture, so it doesn't bother me. But if it does bother you, just make sure you add some glue to the back of the paper too. Okay? And it's okay if the paper goes off the edge a little bit. Alrighty. Very good. And it's important during this process just to kind of trust yourself and think about where you want stuff to go. I have big pieces, small pieces, and I'm just going to be very intuitive. And just put the pieces where I think that they should go. And I try not to overthink this because a lot of it will be covered up with our next step, but we just need to get some paper and some collage and some visual interest down, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. Just like that. And I'm so happy that we're doing this project. It's been really fun. Okay, so let's add some of this. We'll kind of let things overlap. Don't be afraid for pieces to overlap. And again, we can make text go a different way. That's totally fine. And I love vintage papers because they already have so much interest because they're a little bit discolored. And I'll turn this around a little bit. So that makes it really fun. Alrighty, so let's do another piece. You know what I'm forgetting is hymn note paper. I always put that in. That's always in the mix. I love music, so let's see if we can find some of that. I'm gonna have to go to another place in the house and see. You could even do this with fabric, like you could use fabric. This would work really well for that also. Maybe add, and I'm just going to push that down a bit. Doesn't look like I put enough glue. See how it rolls right up? And sometimes these vintage papers, they will suck glue up, so you might have to roll things back and then push them down again. And I have to take this completely off, but that's okay. There we go. And I'm going to add some more of this because I have some over there. So let's add a little bit more here. I think I like it like that. Like so. Okay, and let's seal it down just like that. All right. And I like that little piece there. So let's add that right up in here. Okay, so we're getting there. And I'm going to turn this around again. And let's see what other kind of papers we can use. I wonder how this yellow would really look. Maybe a little bit. We'll just add it in a few places. Yeah, maybe there. And you can even like cut up an old letter or tear up an old letter that someone wrote to you that has meaning. I think that's a great use for it. And again, it's really important, I think, to infuse interest into your artwork. And then this is just a really beautiful piece of discolored notebook that I found at a thrift store. So we're going to add that. And you see that that is what we call a hard edge. It's not a torn edge. So, but I like that. I think that will be a good mix. So let's see if we can add another one here. And this stuff, I need to probably add a little bit more blue. Because again, some of these papers are so old that they just suck up the medium. So there we go. There we go. I'll have to lift up this guy, I think. There we go. And you can use a credit card. I'm using my fingers to really make sure that the paper kisses the surface. But you can absolutely use a credit card if you don't want to use your hands. Maybe let's put some more in another place here. So let's put some, which way should we make this go? Maybe this way. I like that. All right, so we'll put some there. Just like that. Alrighty, and then because we have it in two places, I think let's put it in third. Let's put some here. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Just like that. Okay. And I'm actually going to include a free printable, just because I'm so happy that you're here. So I'll make a scan of a few of these vintage papers, and you can feel free to use them in your art. They are past the need to be copyrighted. They can't be copyrighted, so you can feel free to use them in your artwork. All right. And I'll pick, specific ones that is true of. Like this one, definitely we couldn't scan because that is uncopyrighted. That was reproduced and that belongs to someone. But like the vintage, but I have a few vintage things, ledger paper and things like that I can definitely share. So let me do that. Very nice. Okay, so I think we need to add a little bit more of this yellow since I just had to include it. Okay, so kind of like that piece. And it's good to stop and kind of see how things are looking to your eye. So I'll cover that up maybe like that. Okay, and let's add another piece of that yellow. Maybe just a little bit. And don't be afraid to cover things up. It's totally fine. Just like that. Okay, and then let's see what else. Oh, we have not used this beautiful wallpaper, have we? We have not. Okay, so this will add beautiful texture. See how pretty that is? So let's add some of that texture. And I'm really going to lay down pretty thick. Piece of wallpaper. Alrighty. And let's add some more in a few places. Kind of want to add some there. Yeah, I like it there. That looks cool. Wonderful. Alrighty, and then let's add some maybe here. Yeah, that's good. Put some there. And see that it's coming up a bit, so I have to press it down. I might have to add a little bit more of the medium. And then we need something there. We still don't have, I think we still need a little bit more of that lined paper. So let's put that here. But I used a lot of piece of paper. You don't have to use a ton of them. You could just use a few pieces. But I really like to collage. I always find it very relaxing. So, alrighty, and now we're just kind of looking with our eye to see if there's anything else we want to add. So I think I'm going to add this little strip here. I don't know why, but that's where I wanted to put it. And I tried to listen to my creative voice. Okay, put some here maybe. Oh, I like that. Okay, again, don't know why, but I like it there. So that's where we're going to put it. Alrighty. Okay. So we are going to let this completely dry. I will go around with my scissors and just trim off the edges, the excess. I do have some spots here that I will probably add just little bits of paper just to cover them up a bit, like that. Okay, and we're going to let this dry completely, and then I will come back and we'll move on to our next step. Okay, so let it dry. It's gonna like curl a little bit, as you can see. It kind of looks a little bit like a mountain, a dip or a hill. So we're just gonna let that dry flat. Okay, and then we'll come back, we'll trim the edges, and then we'll get started on our next step. Okay guys, so this is pretty much all dry. So we can go around the edges and we can cut all of that down, just like this. And if we can pretty much just kind of manipulate this and make it so it's flatter, and then as it dries, it will be even more flat. Okay, but we're just going to kind of trim around the parts that are sticking out a little bit. If you're doing this on canvas, the great thing about canvas is you can just kind of wait for it to dry, and you can take an emery board and just go around the edges, and that works really, really well too. Okay, just like that. Alrighty. Okay, so we're going to set that aside just for a minute. You can also just take, oops, sorry. Alrighty. You can also just take a little bit of water and you could wet the back too with a little bit of spray of the water. But we're going to move on to our next step. So for our next step, we're going to create kind of a watercolor effect. So here I just have another piece of watercolor paper. You could use a piece of like another kind of paper. So you could use copy paper, anything like that would work too. We just want to create a really watery paint. So for this project, I am actually going to use some cool colors. So I'm going to use turquoise, maybe some purple, and some blues, which are my favorite. I love all those colors together. And we're just going to kind of create this really pretty washy kind of background, and then we're going to cut it into a heart. Okay, so I'm just pulling out some colors. These are my Deco Arts paints. That's what I'm going to be using for this project. So I have Deco Arts Peacock Teal, which is one of my favorites, and then I have Deco Arts Royal Blue, which is also one of my favorites, and then I have Deco Arts Sea Breeze. So I think those are pretty. And then I might use Eucalyptus Leaf, but I'm not sure about that one. Okay, and then I also have this one, which is really pretty, which is a beautiful green color, citron green, which is really pretty. So we can squirt a little bit out, and I always work on under paper, so that's what we're going to use. Alrighty. And you could do this with watercolor if you didn't want to use your acrylic paints, but I really love pushing my supplies, and I think that acrylic paints are so versatile. You can use them in so many different ways. So that's what we're going to do. I'm just opening these guys up. Okay, just going to open those up like so. Okay, because they are new. Okay, and we're just going to add a little bit of water to them to get them running a little bit. You have to be careful with the craft paints that you use. This is why I like using the Deco Arts one. If not, I would recommend that you use at least student grade or even artist grade paints, because you're going to be watering them down. These are fine to water down. They don't lose a lot of pigmentation, and they won't flake off of your canvas. So just kind of keep that in mind. So we're actually going to spray our paper too. So I'm just going to spray it down. This is watercolor paper, so we can get it pretty well saturated. And I'm going to take a brush, and I'm just going to begin adding a color wash. So I want really washy kind of color, and I'm going to mix it together. Because I'm working in the same color family, I don't really have to worry about things mixing together. I'll just get beautiful tones that won't get muddy. So that's the great thing about these kind of processes. So we're just going to make a really pretty washy background. So I'm just using a flat brush, and I'm just moving it around. I'm using it at the very tip. And then I can go in here even and spray some more and kind of move things around. But I want kind of a watercolor effect. So we do want some drips. I think that just makes it more interesting. We want the colors to kind of run into each other. Okay, so let's add a little bit of that green. Purple is not a good mixer. It doesn't mix well with other colors. So let's go ahead and add just a little bit of, but it does mix very pretty with these teals. So we're there. Alright, so let's let it drip a little bit and just get it the way you want. I think it would be really fun to take a straw and kind of blow the color around. I don't have a straw, otherwise I would do that. But you can do so many fun things with these kind of washes. They make really pretty backgrounds, and people will not know that it is actually acrylic and not watercolor. I think acrylic paint is definitely underrated. You can do so many wonderful things with it. Okay, so let's get that purple to scoot around a bit, and then we'll go into this color. I want to add a little bit more of that. We'll kind of let it go into that green color. Ooh, pretty, pretty, pretty. Okay, and then I'm going to add some green up top, maybe, or greenish. Let that run a bit too. Okay. I really want some more of that green, so I'm just going to put a little bit out. And I am cleaning out my brush if I think the color's getting a little bit muddy. Let's see here. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So now I want to add some purple. Okay, so let's get this brush. Let's add some purple. So let's start at the top here, and I'm just going to kind of drip it down a bit. And I am like making little bits of drops here. So I'm just tapping the very tip of it. Just like that. Okay. So this is going to take quite a while to dry, so we're going to let it dry. One thing that I will do, though, is I am going to add a little bit of splatters. So I'm going to use this Deco Arts. Again, this is the Ultra Sheen, and it's in vintage brass, so we're going to use that one. But you can use whatever kind you want. We could even use the Deco. Maybe I'll use the Deco Arts Premium in Gold. I think that'd be a good color. Okay, we're going to add some splatters. We might add some more later. So I'm just loading in my brush, and I'm going to add some splatters right into this wet color. And it's going to create this really beautiful effect. So the closer you get, the bigger the droplets will be, and the further away you are, the smaller they'll be. So just kind of keep that in mind. So very nice. I like how this looks. Okay, so it's running beautifully. Okay, so we're going to let that dry completely. I'm going to use up this paint on another piece of paper. I like to do that. And then we'll come back and we'll continue on with our project. So our piece of paper is all dry. So now we're going to cut out our circle. And our background is nice and dry too. And let's cut this out first, okay? So I just have some scissors, and I just did a quick outline on the area that I want to use for my heart. I think that's a pretty good one. I really wanted to include some of the purple, but I kind of forgot about that. So, but I like this area here with the bleed, so we're going to use that. And don't worry too much about those pencil lines, because it will be fine. Just like that. And I kind of want this to be an irregular kind of heart. So just like that. And I'm going to see how much of those I can erase right off. I just use a mechanical pencil. And all of them don't have to be completely gone. Sorry if I'm shaking you a little bit. Okay. That's pretty good, I think. Okay, that's pretty good. I can hardly see any of them. I tried to use light pencil marks, which I'm a heavy-handed writer, so sometimes that can be difficult. Okay, so now let's decide where we're going to put our heart. I actually like it right there. You could put it right in the center. That would be cool. But I think I like right here, or we could even do over there. Maybe I like that better. No, I think I like here. Okay. So I'm just going to make little marks about where I'm going to put this, but before I do that, I want to maybe work on the shape of this a little bit, of this circle, because it doesn't look quite right, but I don't know what I did with my scissors. So hopefully I'll get them, but that's good. But this is fine for now. Okay, so we're just going to mark off where our heart is going to be. I just want to do right at the bottom. There we go. Just like right here on the edge, just very lightly. And that way I will know where my circle should go back to, but I want to do a little bit of doodling. Alrighty, that's good there. So I'm just going to extend that a bit. So here I just made some kind of doodles with my black pen of flowers maybe that I want to make, because I want flowers to come off the edges of my heart. just like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab a pen. I think I'm going to use my Pilot multi-ball, but you could also use a Sharpie too. But that might be too thick of a line, or even a permanent marker would work. Okay, so I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, and I am going to sketch out some flowers, kind of in a spray style, and I just did some little sketches here. So maybe I'll start with just kind of a plain one. So we're going to do maybe like 3 little circles, and then I'm going to make some petals. And I like to kind of make up my own flowers, so they're fun. And then this is going to be a petal that you can't see. It's going to be obstructed by the heart. And we'll do another one over here. And let's do double petals. We'll do one there and there. That will be covered by the heart. We'll do one there and we'll do one there. Okay, like so. And then we're going to add a spray of leaves. Okay, so I'm going to go this way and just make some teardrop shapes. Okay, and then we can just keep expanding out as much as we want. So maybe I will add maybe a bunch of little, maybe I'll make like kind of some kind of spray here too. So we'll just do V shapes. Nothing too fancy there, and I can even add circles on some of these. And I'm being very loose. I am going slow, but that's just because. Okay. Alrighty, and let's add some more flowers. Okay, so which flower? Let's do one that's just a little bit different than this one. So for this one, let's do maybe a different kind of center. So let's do like a circle, and then let's do kind of like 3 petals, but a little bit larger. Like that, and then we'll go in and add a few more. So I'm just kind of squiggling my lines. Make that one so it goes in a little bit. And you can add more embellishment if you want. And then I want to make like these little round flowers here. We'll put some here so you can see them a little bit clearer. And they're just kind of irregular shapes, and then I just put a center. But they're fun and easy flowers to make, so that's what we're going to do. Perfect. Okay, and then let's add another leaf situation. So I'll make kind of a more traditional leaf here, and then I'm just going to add a line there. Okay, we can even do another one coming off here. Leaf shape. We'll go here, make that a little bit of a bigger line, and one here. Bigger line, and make that. Okay, that looks good. Okay, and then here I'm just going to add just some kind of like spray shape. It's very easy, so I'm just making like an interesting spray. So kind of like a swirl, but I'm just making it into a circle. Okay, just like that. So I like how that looks. Okay, so let's add some flowers over here. Maybe we'll try to do this little guy. Let's see if I can do that one. Kind of was by accident. So, but let's see. If it doesn't work out, that's okay. But I just want to see if we can do it. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll do it coming off of here. So I'm just going to do like one teardrop shape, another teardrop shape, and another teardrop shape. Okay. Okay, and then we're going to do, on this one, we're going to connect it this way, and I'm just making just a plain kind of petal shape. And from there, we're just going to keep adding, keep building up. So we'll go from this line up here, and then up there. Okay. From there, we'll make them just a little bit smaller. There we go. Okay, I kind of like that shape. It's not exactly what I envisioned, but I think it will work. I'll do this guy and that guy maybe just to clean it up. And then I'm just going to add lines right in the center. Very sketchy kind of lines. And it's so fun to draw these shapes on index cards. It's, they're super cheap, first of all, and you don't get that pressure. And then I'm just going to make kind of like a stamen, something coming out of the flower. Again, these are totally imaginary flowers, but those are super fun to draw. Okay, let's go here and let's make something like that. And something like that. Like that. Okay, and then I'm just going to put a dot right in the center just to give it a little bit of a design element. Okay, turn it this way. Let's do something over here. Maybe we'll just do a bunch of little hanging piece of garland. And you could do this with different kinds of pens. You can do whatever you want. There's no rules, but it's just fun to kind of play with this this scale and to kind of play and see how many flowers and things you can add. So let's kind of play with this guy and let's make just a 3-petal flower, kind of like a tulip, but a little bit different. Okay. Perfect. Okay, I like that. And then let's add another flower, maybe coming out of here. So for this one, maybe we'll just make a squiggly little flower and just make it build up. Because you kind of get the essence of a flower shape, and if we add stuff in there, that will work. And let's do another one over here just to, and I can go right over that wallpaper very easily. Okay, wonderful. Okay, and then let's maybe add, I'm kind of looking at my idea sheet here. Okay. Alrighty, so for this one, let's just add a regular kind of shape of a leaf. And this is going to go right into my heart. That's okay. I think makes it a little bit more authentic when kind of overlaps naturally. Okay, we can go in here and just add a line and add some veins to our leaf, just like that. Here you won't be able to see a lot of this work, but that's okay. Just like that. Okay. Alrighty. And let's add some more of those weird looking flowers that are just fun to just scribbles. There we go. Those are good. Alrighty. And from this guy, let's do some kind of like leaf situation. There we go. Perfect. And then we'll add a swirly. I like swirlies. I was trying not to do them, but they always make an appearance. Okay. There we go. Perfect. Alrighty. And then over here, let's just do a leaf shape, and we can add just lines for this one. And if you wanted to, you could like make the lines bigger so we can like color this in. In a lot of my line drawings, I do like to have kind of like a heavy line and a light line and that kind of thing. So you can totally play with that and see what you like. This one I'm going to add just little dots on the inside so you kind of knew what's going on there. But this could go on forever, so I'm going to attempt to move along here because this is kind of where I have the most fun, to be honest. Could do this forever. All of these little details. Okay. And the main thing is that if you're just beginning to draw flowers, which I have always been afraid to draw them because I thought they had to be realistic, just kind of relax and don't overthink it and practice a lot. I think that really helps. And just have fun with it. Like, don't just have an idea. Have a lot of idea sheets, okay? So that looks great. Okay, and in here we can maybe add a little bit of detail. So I'm just going to add a few little lines on some of these just to give the impression of something. I'm going to darken the lines on this guy. And I love these multi-valve pens. They really flow. The ink really flows, which I like. So that makes things a little bit easier. You can play around with them a bit. They don't really run out, which is nice too. Okay, so perfect. Righty, and then where do I want to make a thicker line on here? I think we need to balance this out. So I'm going to darken in some of these leaves. Because like I said, I do like a heavy line. Okay, and we can add some to these too, to a few of them. Righty, and maybe like here too. Just a few. Fill that in, and let's maybe add a few more of those flowers here. Just because it looks better to my eye. Just like that. Okay, so that looks pretty good to me. Okay, so our heart will be like this, and it will have all of these interesting things coming off of it, which I love. Okay, wonderful. Move that a little bit. Okay, and kind of put your heart back and see if there's some things that you might want to fix. Maybe I want to make this a little bit darker. Perfect. So that looks great. Okay, so that's good. So we're going to glue this down. Glue, 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 and you can keep going and keep embellishing, keep kind of thickening up your lines, keep adding a lot of interest if you like, which I totally want to do, but I'm going to attempt to resist the urge because it's so fun to doodle, especially botanicals and flowers. So it's very easy to get kind of lost in it in the process. But I have to stop so that this video is not 100 years, right? Okay, so this guy and this guy, I like that. Okay, we should actually have another flower coming off of here. Make that maybe like some kind of bell-shaped flower or something. That's good. Actually, I want to add that over here somewhere too. So maybe here, and we can squeeze it in, make like a triangle-shaped flower, and then add a dot there. Maybe a dot there. Maybe one there and one there. Let's make another one, maybe coming this way. We'll make that kind of situation. It's going to add some dots on top. Okay. Interesting. I don't know if I like it though, but that's okay. We're going to color it in. When in doubt, I like to color things in when I'm not exactly sure about them. I'll just, oops, maybe we'll make this into like a bud situation. I think I like that better. Just going to make some lines there. This guy will color in too a little bit. Perfect. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, so I like that better. Okay, so let's glue this down. Alrighty. And oops, no, but before we glue that down, I want to do something special with my actual heart. So I'm going to go grab the stuff for that. Okay, so what I decided to do is I'm actually going to do some threading or some sewing around my heart. So I'm just going to not overthink this, and I just want to add just a little bit of interest around my heart. So I'm going to go ahead and just start poking holes just right on the edge. You can measure this out if you want. I think I want mine kind of rough. When I was little, I used to love doing those lace little shapes, so those are fun. So I decided let's incorporate that into this project. And I think I'm going to do the whole thing. So I'm going to just show you a couple stitches because this page is taking longer than I anticipated because I'm getting so inspired. So what I think we're going to do is I'm just going to show you me going through it and show me sewing it on camera, but we're going to fast forward this part. Okay, and then I'm going to glue down the heart, and then we have one more step, and that is it. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going around here. Like I said, if you want this to be perfect, then you can absolutely, just be careful of your hands. You can absolutely use, oops, too much pressure there. Oh wow. Pokey tool in distress because of crazy poking lady. Just make sure that you don't stab your hands. Not responsible for stabbed hands, please. Okay, there we go. This is such a fun project. I kind of get involved in things, as you can tell. Okay, so I'm going to grab a needle. I'm just going to use a tapestry needle so I don't completely stab myself. So we have this guy. It's thin enough, I think, to go through the holes. Have anything thinner? Oh, I have a perfect one. So I just get these from Hobby Lobby. They're a few bucks, like $1.50, and they last me forever. I make journals, so I like to have these. Okay, and then I just have some embroidery floss. Like, I got this like from a yard sale. So, okay. And I have to find my scissors, which is always an issue. I always need scissors. I don't know what it is with scissors. There they are. That's amazing. Okay. So I'm just going to take a lot off, probably more than I need. Okay, and I'm just going to do a plain running stitch. And I'm actually going to take this out and stick that one on there because I will totally lose the... But these are great because they're not pointy, so they don't hurt you, which is always a good thing. So I'm just going to thread my needle. This is embroidery floss, so it's going to be, kind of have to get all the threads in there. And you could take these apart too, so if you just wanted to use one, then you could. Right, and I'm just going to start. I'm going to go in. I want all the knots and everything on the back, so I'm going to go in first. This is probably too much thread, but that's okay. And I'm just going to tie a little bit of a knot, but I am going to leave a tail because I'm going to tie it off in the end. Okay. Just like that. Okay, so hopefully that will not go through. We'll see. That looks pretty good. Alrighty, and I'm just going to do a running stitch, I think. But it might be cool actually to go out. Yeah, maybe I'll do that actually. So I'm just going to go like that. And it's going to make this really cool thing on the side. Yeah, see how it makes that loop? That's what I'm going to do. So I go in, and then we go through like that. A whip stitch, I think. I don't know. Sorry, guys. It's been a long time since I hand sewed anything, but think that's what it's called. So I'm going to continue working. I'll let you kind of watch this and I will speed it up. Okay, so I'm going to keep working.
Bring what it seems. Look at all of the money you are making now.
Very last stitch. So you're just going to make sure that you always go over. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to go into this last hole, but I'm going to go over it and go in the back. Right here, like so. And that's what creates that kind of stitch. Okay, and then for this one, we're going to go in again. Actually, I'm going to go in. I think I'm going to go back into the same hole, okay, to create that one. Alrighty. And then I'm going to go back through here, and then I'm going to tie it off, hopefully. Alrighty, just like that. So everything's at the back, and that one's just going to have two. Alrighty, and let's go. I'm going to go right next to it. I will not pull it out, okay, because I've been known to do that. Yes, I just pulled it out. Okay, so I think maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to make one more hole. Yeah, because this one is actually missing one. So let's just make another one right at the edge. And we'll go through again. Just like that. Through there. Perfect. All right. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We'll go back through one more time. Yeah. Once more. All right, that should finish us up. Okay, and then I'm just gonna just cut this and I'm gonna tie it. So hopefully you're seeing everything okay. Alrighty, so we're gonna take it from this end and this end, and I'm just gonna give it a knot. And this is gonna get glued, so don't overthink it, okay? Do not. Overthinking is not allowed. But it's gonna look really cool no matter what you do. That looks cool. Okay, so, and I can just hide those in the back, my little tells, but looks very cool. And it didn't take very long. I did do most of it off camera, but it maybe took about 5-10 minutes. That's it. And I even did a fancy stitch. If you just did a straight stitch, you wouldn't have to do that. So let me put the cap on this guy. Alrighty. And now we're going to attach our heart. I decided that I'm actually just going to use double-sided sticky tape for this part. But you could absolutely use any kind of glue you like. But since I have double-sided sticky tape, that's what I'm going to use. You could use a tape runner. You can use more of your Deco page glue or your matte medium. Elmer's glue works really great. I might do both. I might do a couple blues, but I don't think so.
You live in the dream. Look at all of the people you're connected to. Don't forget about me. Can I borrow some money? I look up to you. Help me to achieve. Still I'm needing that money, but I do love.
Okay, perfect. So I am worried that that is not going to be enough. So we'll see. I'm going to add just a little bit more tape. Just right down at that tip. Right there. Right there. Can you see that? Just a little bit. Right there. Okay, and hopefully I'll be able to get it up without it giving me too many issues. I just need one edge. Give me one edge here. I think we got it. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Very good. Okay, perfect. All right, so we're going to put it down. So I'm just going to use those little lines as my guide. And that should work. Looking for my scissors again because I don't really like that little part sticking up on my heart. So I'm just going to trim that a bit. Perfect. Okay. And we're going to go right to that edge there. I'm going to start right on the tip, and I'm going to press it down. And like I said, it's okay if it pops out a little bit. That doesn't bother me. But it kind of looks like that black ink is coming out, and you can embellish further if you'd like, but I like this. Very nice. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to grab these little guys. I think they're like label things that you like put in your file folders. I got them at like a creative used store. So I'm going to take a couple of these off, and I just want to write or even stamp. Let's maybe get out some stamps. Or do I want to use my own handwriting? So many choices. I think I'm going to use my own handwriting. Okay. It's kind of fun. So we're going to use a Sharpie. And I just want to tell myself to have a grateful heart, since we did a lot about gratitude on the bottom of this page. So I'm just going to cut these into smaller strips, and I'm going to write, have a grateful heart. So I'm going to do 3, just as a reminder. And I love making art that really has meaning. I think that all of us are capable of making beautiful art that, you know, that's just beautiful, and that's definitely great. But it's nice if for your own self, if you make art that actually has significance and meaning to you. So every time I look at this, and I'll probably scan it in or hang it on my wall, I will know that it's just encouragement for me to have a grateful heart, to know that I have lots of things to be grateful for. So I'm using my Sharpie here, and I'm going to do some plain text here, but I might add some stuff to it. Have a, I'm going to do heart, but maybe a few bubble letters. Ooh, bad bubble letter. So when I do that, when I make mistakes, I just color them in. It's not that big of a deal for me. I like my letters to be some big, some small. Okay, a heart. And then I always like to put dots. Okay. It's pretty good to me. Okay, let's maybe color in the R and the A. Give it a little bit more interest. Okay, and then for this one, maybe make the V a bubble V if we can. A little bit thicker. Very good. Okay, let's make the E. Maybe a bubble E too. A little bit thicker. I like varieties in my letters because I have horrible handwriting, so this is a great way to do it. Okay. Oops. We'll color in that H. color in our A here too, just to give it kind of, again, we're going in with our different variation of line, which I like. We have some colored in, some not colored in, so it's cool. Alrighty, so I like that. Alrighty, so let's cut this out and do some placement stuff, see where we like it. And I'm going to cut the letters apart. I think I like that better than strips, but you never know. I change my mind a lot. Kind of go with my gut when it comes to my art. Have a grateful heart. We can even put this in the center if we wanted, to see how I like it. A grateful heart. And we'll see if I'm going to use those lines. I don't know. Ooh, I like that. Have a grateful heart. Can you see that? Okay. Do like that. But do I like it in the inside? Have a grateful heart. Actually, I do like it in the inside better. Okay. So that's what we'll do. Alrighty, so we can do that with a glue stick. I think that's probably the best way to go here. So I'm just going to take that and turn this over and add it there. And I'm going to purposely make them imperfect. So I was not going to do that, but I think that I am. Heart. I like that. Have a grateful heart. Alrighty. Okay, so I'm going to kind of push it up and see if I think it needs anything else. The only thing I think that I want to add is maybe some splatters because this background is pretty blank to me. So I think we need to liven it up a bit. Okay, so to do that, and actually I think I'm going to use the colors that we used before. So we're going to use some of this citron green, and we'll use some of the Bahama blue. We could even do drips too, which might be really nice. But I think that it needs to be finished off. So let's see, what do I want to do? Do I want to do drips or splatters, or I can do both maybe and see how that looks? Which should I do? Which should I do? Which should I do? Well, let's try splatters because I love splatters first. And we'll just, I'm going to activate them with a little bit of water. Okay, and let's go in with this blue, see how we like it. Okay, and I'm just going to, I am going to cover up my writing just for now. I'm just going to grab a scratch piece of paper. It's great to have that around. And I don't mind if it gets on the black doodling that I did, but maybe not on the writing for the heart. Okay, and I already love that, so I'm glad we made that decision. Perfect. Just to liven it up a bit. It's a little bit dull, a little bit too safe, I think, for me. Okay, gotta mess things up a bit sometimes. Okay, so let's add a little bit more of that. I love splatters. Okay. I'm just flicking them, flick, 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 flick. And then let's add the green, but I'm going to take some of this off of my brush first. I'd actually use another brush. Okay, so let's use this guy. Oops. He's coming apart. Alrighty, so. Okay. Let's see. I don't know if he's going to work out. We're going to try to make him work out. Okay. I'm going to take that and we're going to just give it a flick. Maybe I like that. I think it's time for me to retire this brush. Okay. Oh no, and I kind of rolled that on there. Oops, 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 oops. So let me grab a baby wipe and we'll wipe off that spot that I have there. I'm just going to go ahead and wipe this off of here. And we'll go in the citron and we'll add some green. Okay, there we go. I think this brush is just better. Use that. And I think that one's headed to the place where brushes go. Okay. Perfect. I like that a lot. Very nice. Okay, let's see. And now I like to get in just a little bit closer because I don't want it to look like that I completely neglected very close to the heart. So I like to be a little bit more deliberate when it comes to that. So we're going to add a little bit more of this green, just a tad bit, just a little bit, because I think we can add more green. Okay, let's see what we got here. Yeah. I'm kind of being a little bit light on some of this, but this is nice. Okay, perfect. I really like how this looks, and you know what? It's dripping a little bit. Let's help it along. But I don't want to cover up my line work, so maybe we won't. So we'll wipe that back. And because we used a waterproof pen, which is awesome, we don't have to worry. We can wipe it back a little bit. I wouldn't mind if the drips were so much on that area, but because we did all of this lovely work, I don't want to mess up too much of my line work here. I'm actually going to wipe this back a little bit. This is why you let your layers dry, because it gives you a little bit more versatility. You can wipe away paint actually, which I like. So it's just going to be, we'll just do this really nice, delicate back and forth. But that's what it looks like, and I love how this page turned out. Isn't that cool? So I'm going to bring it out so you can see. This is the page all done. So I really hope that you enjoyed this month's creative challenge. Don't forget to join the Facebook group, which I will have a link to below, and because they have lots of fun stuff in that Facebook group, and I'm sure that you'll find tons of inspiration. If you belong to that group, you also get the free printable of the collage papers, and I also have a special surprise for everyone that watches this video. I have a free online workshop, Altered Clipboards, so I'm going to link it below, and you can go check that out. I also have other classes that I teach too, online classes, so you can go see if anything sparks your creative interest, because I have lots available on there too. So thank you so much for joining me. Happy creating. I really hope that you like this prompt, and I can't wait to see what kind of art you create with the challenge of heart. So for mine is have a grateful heart, because I definitely need that reminder, and I forget all the things that I am blessed with and that I have. So it's good always to have this reminder to have a grateful heart. But I can't wait to see where you take this challenge and where it leads you. You can definitely follow this tutorial, or just come up with your own and see what sparks your fancy. Okay, so I will see you guys later. Thank you so much for joining me. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comment below. Don't forget to join the Facebook group and get that free printable and check out all the inspiration there. And don't forget about your free class. And I will see you next time. Happy creating. Bye-bye.